Whenever you're getting your Mercedes picked up, delivered, dropped off, transported, towed, whatever the case being, you have to take special care and consideration. It is a Mercedes. It's rear-wheel drive, so you can't drag these cars. You have to use a flatbed. If you are able to drive the car up onto the ramp, do that. Otherwise, it has to be dragged. Unfortunately, with the suspension, sometimes they drop low, aromatic or ABC. So a lot of times these cars that are aromatic or ABC suspension, when it fails, they're sitting too low, and a lot of tow companies have a hard time. A lot of drivers have a hard time getting this thing up in the air high enough to drag it onto here, or they're trying not to damage the front bumper. So that happens sometimes.
Watch this.
Gotcha. Fortunately, this suspension. All right. Fortunately, this suspension is not low. ABC is still active. Ah,
see how flat now?
yeah, I like that.
Always let them all the way down.
I like that. See, this driver, this guy here, he knows what he's doing. You have to give that special care and consideration, man. Even though the suspension is still good, you can still catch that front bumper on these ramps. Yes. I love it. I love it, man. You are the man.
Yes, sir. I'll give you all my numbers before we get out here.
Yeah, please do.
Credit card or cash?
Whatever's best for you. What you want?
That sounds good to me.
Cash? I got you. I got you.
That's paperwork I got you.
I got you. There it is. 2002 CL500 delivered to my home safe and sound. So now I have this going on. I have the S55 up here I still have to work on. I have a SL500 in storage that I have to get rid of. I also have a 500 SEC that I'm supposed to be doing a whole project on, a whole video series on, and I still haven't gotten around to that because I keep getting cars like this sent to me. Now this right here is my car. I purchased it. It's mine. I have the title. And what am I going to do with it? Well, I'm going to fix the immediate problems with the AC pulley breaking, the idler pulley breaking. What caused that AC compressor pulley to break up like that? I don't know. So I have to figure that out. Also figure out where the coolant leak is coming from. That's a issue. Who is this? my daughter. All right, so there you go. So I have another project on my hands. 2002 Mercedes CL500. More to come, guys. Stay tuned. Always more videos and cars and projects going on. It never stops, I swear. Once I got into this Mercedes game, whew, it was more than I expected. But it's all good because I'm making customers happy, saving one Mercedes at a time. All right, so taking a look at the 2002 CL500. You see this belt? Belt's tore up, ain't it? Yeah. So let's see what caused this belt to be tore up. Let's look at that right there. That's the idler pulley. That's fried. ABC pump is present. Let's see, can you see that down there? That little nipple right there, that's the AC compressor. That's the pulley. Yep, that's damaged. There's a couple ball bearings down there too. I think that's all associated with that clutch bearing and pulley assembly from the AC compressor. So I'm wondering though still why I have a coolant leak You see there's a lot of fluid down there, and that's all coolant. So where did the coolant come from? For it to all be accumulated in the front and not on the back side of the underside of the motor, that's a good thing. But why is it present, period? So where's the fluid coming from? When that ruptured, did something, hit a hose? Did it hit the radiator? I don't know. But that right there is empty. This is empty. So, why is it empty? That's what I have to figure out. But for the time being, I'm going to replace this. Also, I bought a shorter hose, a shorter belt. A belt that will allow me to bypass the AC compressor. So, let me go ahead and change this out. And then I'll show you this belt that I bought to bypass the AC compressor. Because to get the AC compressor swapped out, I have to pull out the ABC pump. And the ABC pump is in perfect condition. I believe ABC still works. Until I can prove otherwise, I want to bypass the AC compressor because I got to pull the ABC pump out, which means I have to compromise the system, ABC system, and I have to, get it from up underneath and from the top to remove the AC compressor. That's some serious labor, and I can do it. But for the time being, I want to get this car running. I also have to figure out why the coolant is leaking. So by getting it turned on, filling that reservoir up, I'll find the coolant leak, and I'll go from there. So let me go ahead and swap this out real quick, and then on to the next step. All right, so to break that loose, you use a T50 or a 5/16, whichever one you have. Metric or US, I guess, standard. And that's what breaks that loose. All right. I already loosened it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just free spin it by hand. It should be a long bolt. I'm not sure if it has a washer. I don't think it does, but just in case, just be careful when you're pulling it out. Probably wondering, why am I working on this car with jewelry on? Because I didn't really plan on working on this car. I was just kind of curious when I came back out here. I was in the house chilling, and I said, let me go out there and just take a look. And then taking a look winds up turned into, let me fix it. Stupid. All right, it's a long boat. Good Lord. Okay. All right, hold on. Daggone it, this boat is long. Y'all see this boat? Golly. All right, cool. Well, that's done. Take a look. That's crazy. Man, hopefully I bought the right one. Let me see. It's just the idler pulley. Should be the same as on an S500. This V8 motor, they should all be the same. The supercharged motor is different. I gotta cut this open. Hold on. Yeah, the supercharged V8, the M113K, has a different type of idler. Well, it has a supercharger right above. And so the pulley on that one is different. But here it goes. Same thing, except one is damaged and one is not. All right. So there's no particular brand that you have to go with. You can go with any aftermarket one. They're not really complicated. It's a bearing, all right? It's a pulley with a bearing. Bearings, ball bearings. And that could have been where those ball bearings came from. Could have came from this. I don't know what that clutch is made out of for the AC compressor. But it just goes right there like that, and the bolt runs back through. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. That repair right there is one of the most common repairs with these Mercedes V8s. That idler pulley is just what it is. It doesn't last forever. It's a plastic housing running on metal sleeves with bearings and a collar, metal collar. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. It's just going to break. It's just what it is. Over time, they break. It's plastic. Plastic over time becomes brittle. See those fine cracks right there? So take a look at your idler pulley. If you see cracks like this, it's indicative of a pending failure. So repair that, replace that. It's real simple. This thing right here can cost anywhere between $15 to $30. They're cheap. Matter of fact, the kit that I bought, it came with this right here, a new one, and also the tensioner pulley. which is what keeps tension on the belt. So it was a two-part combo for like 30-40 bucks. So consider that, guys. Real cheap, easy fix. It prevents this kind of catastrophic failure. Now the AC clutch or whatever, that pulley thing, couldn't prevented that. The AC compressor, whatever, it did what it did. But I have bought cars, Mercedes, before, and this was the only thing that was wrong with it, was this broke, which caused the belt to come off and to shred, which causes your power steering to cut off, which causes your water pump to stop working, which causes your alternator, alternator, water pump, power steering, and of course your AC compressor. And then once that happens, a lot of people panic, they freak out, and all of a sudden they want to sell their car because they don't know what's wrong with it. They think worst case scenario. Sometimes it's just as simple as this. Just a little pointer there. So, of course, a new belt. Now, in this case, I bought a different belt than what is required for this motor. And when I say that, I bought a shorter belt. Why is it shorter? Because it's not going to connect to the AC compressor. There's enough clearance there for it to run and bypass the AC compressor and still go to the next pulley, because it's recessed enough where it can clear it. Now, in my case, the pulley for the AC compressor is actually shattered and gone. So I really have a lot of space, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely not in the way. Look at the diagram and see what I'm saying. Now, what I'm going to do is install this. I'm gonna take a look at this AC compressor just to know what it is and what's going on with it. But I do have to remove that if I want AC to work. We're coming up on winter time, so I'm not really stressed about it. But let me go ahead and install this. Okay, well, look what I found messing around with that AC. So the AC compressor tore off the pulley. Now what could have happened also is when this failed, the belt got binded up, and it could have got binded onto this and kind of locked it up, but the AC compressor could have just torn simply through it and broke the pulley off. I don't know. There's a lot that can go on once a belt starts to shred and come undone, right? And so that's what happened here. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. See if I can, let me see. Yeah. Where's the water pump at? Man, I hope that water pump didn't implode or rupture and just the damage that comes from this belt, like binding up. I mean, I know that the AC compressor is jacked up. I hope that water pump didn't also get jacked up and start spewing fluid, coolant all over the place. But I guess I'll find out once I crank this thing up. You never know what you're buying when you buy stuff sometimes, man. Sometimes when you buy damaged equipment, man, you just get hideous results, man. A lot of frustration. But we'll see. We'll see. See, even that pulley right there, the crank. I hate that all this rubber is on there. It gets caught up in the grooves. It's just causes slippage and all types of issues, man. So if you can clean that up, do that. Use a small little flathead screwdriver and try to pry that stuff out of there, I guess. Get it cleaned up as much as possible. Dang. Don't you hate when this happens? All right, so the battery had ran down enough where it won't start. So I had to put my little jump starter, little box right here, onto the battery so that it has enough juice to start it. Now, my concern is this. This belt actually does make contact with a bolt towards the bottom of the engine block. Can't really see it with this camera, but the underside of the belt, just about right here, it contacts a bolt that sticks out from the block. So when I start this, it's going to rub on that. Will it just wear down a part of the belt, or will it cause the belt to tear? We'll find out. Also, there's still a lot of that chewed up belt rubber on this crank. Well, yeah, the crank pulley, the crank right there, and also I guess this is the, I don't know, what's this, the water pump, whatever this is. Also the alternator. Man, we'll see. We'll see. I added coolant to it also, and let me see, it already went down. Yeah, because the radiator likely is empty. So, oh man, I'm gonna find out what happens. I'm gonna find out if fluid, where it comes out from. I'm gonna see if it starts up. I'm gonna see if this belt wears down. It's gonna be kind of dangerous. It's gonna be kind of dangerous. But I'm gonna start it up. We'll see what happens. So I'm looking for leaks, just like residual pressure leaks, just to see if there's some kind of obvious way that this coolant is leaking out of the system. I don't see anything. Let's see. Leave the cap off of the coolant overflow or coolant reservoir. Let me see. Let me pull these air intakes back so that I can have a clear visual of what's going on. Man, that stuff just falls apart, doesn't it? Golly. All right. So I have a better view of what's going on. I can shine some light down there. Man, I'm gonna start this up. And I'm gonna listen. Let me press this little boost button on the starter pack here. They're doing landscaping, so it's kind of noisy. Nothing's flying off. All right, so whatever rubbing the belt is doing, it's holding steady. Got that rubber, didn't tear the belt up, and I don't see any slippage. Just, the rubber that's on the pulleys. The fluid level in the reservoir is steady. It hasn't dropped yet. That doesn't mean it's not leaking. You have to find out where the leak is coming from. There's some rubber just flew off. That be from the belt. Now, I expect the stuff in the pulley to start flying off at some point. The friction, the heat, as it gets softer, the hotter it gets softer, it starts slipping off, start coming off the belt. Also expect to see some smoke. Once it starts getting hot enough, the coolant that was leaking out should start, smoking a little bit, burning off. But again, I got to figure out what was leaking, why there is so much coolant on the up underneath. Okay, so that level has dropped. Now, was that naturally from? Okay, it's still there. It's still there. All right, it's still there. So I guess bypassing the AC compressor does work. I'm starting to smell some coolant. I don't see the smoke yet, but I smell it. At some point, I got to stick my head down in there and see where it's coming from. A little hesitant though with this belt, but I guess I gotta do what I gotta do, right? Let me see if I have to check his light. All right, ESP, that's from the dead battery. Okay, so that fault should go away when you do that. When you turn the steering wheel all the way to the left, all the way to the right, that should go away. Maybe, maybe not. All right, so I gotta check that out, see what's going on with that. All right, ABS light is on. Brake lining wear, so it needs brakes. Brake pads are low. Washer fluid low. ESP, BAS. So the belt's still intact. All right, there goes the leak. It's right there. All right. So let's see why it's leaking. Where it's leaking from. Okay, well I found the leak. Looks like it's right there. Can you see it? All right, so it's not as bad as I thought. I'm happy to see that. It's just a leak right there. Now keep in mind that there is no clip that's holding this hose on. So it could just simply be when it gets hot, it stretches out, expands, and the fluid is allowed to seep past it. And that might be what's happening. So I'm gonna put a clip on there, and hopefully that stops it. But that's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. The belt is holding steady. It's working, man. It's working. So that's good news. I just don't have AC. Whatever. I'll figure that part out. So I'll fix this right here. Hopefully that's all it is. I'll put a clip on there and see. I'm gonna turn the car off. Hopefully it starts back up without the starter box, but we'll see. Yeah, I got a couple issues. Okay, I'll sort through them. No biggie. Yeah. Oh, I meant to start the ABC. Start it right up. The ABC in the rear is sitting kind of low back here. So let's see if that works. You heard it. Sounded kind of crazy, but it's raising. Let it sit steady right there. So the ABC is working. This thing work? I thought it just blinked. Oh, it's blinking. There it goes. Screen's kind of dead. Oh, I'm impatient. I got sounds, baby. All right. Oh, there's a lot of hope here, guys. A lot of hope here. All right. So let me go ahead and turn this off and put that clip on there and see if that resolves that issue. But yeah, it's leaking out of the driver's side. It's accumulating in the center just because, you know, that's what it does. Fluid goes to path of least resistance. But yeah, let me put that clip on there and see if that resolves that. But shoot, I'm happy. Oh well, it wasn't the clip. Daggone it. Let me show you guys what it is. All right, watch this. So I can zoom in a little bit. Yep, it's a hairline crack. That sucks. So this is what you don't want to see when you start your car up. Woo-wee! What do you guys think that is? Now, it's not what you might think. It's not ABC fluid. Think about it. It's coming from the front middle. There is ABC lines that run through here, active body control. But nah, this is actually a coolant leak. You can smell it. Coolant or antifreeze has a distinct smell, just like ABC fluid has a distinct smell. But this is a known leak, guys. I know that this car, this 2002 CL500, has a coolant leak. There's a leak in the radiator. I'll show you. smoke that you're seeing right there, that smells like oil. That's from the valve cover gaskets. So when they leak oil and they start to seep oil, it burns off the exhaust manifold down there. So you might get that on these high mileage V8s. But this one right here does have a coolant leak. If I remove this intake right here, might be hard to see, but it's right down there. There you go. It's hard to see, but it's wet down there. So that's what's going on with this one. The radiator has to be replaced, and I do have a new radiator. It's in the trunk. The coolant level light came on because it's below the sensor line, the low line. It does have some oil seepage. Now this oil right here is seeping from probably this right here. That's common if you don't catch it at a time. Might need a new cap. But the valve cover gaskets, that's unfortunately a common thing when you go a long time without oil changes, or when you have a lot of miles on these cars. Just naturally that gasket hardens up and it no longer seals off the valve covers from the oil, and they can get into your spark plugs. And so sometimes it's associated with a, if it gets really bad, it can be associated with a misfire. But typically you get that burning off way before you get that. And sometimes it doesn't get any worse than that, but depending on your individual circumstance or case or situation, they can get worse, and they can seep into the individual spark plugs. So you put your spark plugs, if they're soaked in oil, then that's an issue. But yes, that's what that fluid is right there. That's what that fluid is right there. That's coolant from the radiator. So got a little project there.